Hello guys, good evening everyone. I welcome you all for this webinar which is organized by Research Hacker Community. Today's topic for webinars is analyzing real-time latest Android malware application. So in this webinar we will be taking the latest Android malware and perform the analysis. Before beginning the session, I would like to thank Research Hacker Community for giving me the opportunity to conduct this webinar, as well as I would like to also thank especially Vicky for inviting me and reaching and contacting me for this session. This is about me. My name is Narahari. I'm currently working as threat researcher in organization, and also I'm a cybersecurity postgraduate researcher. My field of interest is threat researching, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing, as well as in the field of networks. And the certifications I hold are certified ethical hacker and also penetration testing and network administration, as well as server administration, then Fortinet security. And currently I'm pursuing in my free time I'm training on forensic investigator certification, which is currently going. When it comes to my experience in Android, I developed some of the applications in Java as well as Kotlin for some of the clients, and it's already available in the Play Store. And I perform Android malware analysis as well as I perform Android penetration testing. The certifications related to Android are Android Enterprise Associate as well as the Android Enterprise Professional, which I got it from Android itself. And when it comes to my education qualification, I have done my BTech in computer science, and I have also done MTech in cybersecurity in systems and networks. That's all about me. Uh, so the research hacker community actually made a slide to post and quote. So my favorite quote is this one, which is written by Bruce Lee. Knowing is not enough, we must apply, and willing is not enough, we must do. This is my favorite one. So okay, let's start the webinar. So for this webinar, I have made like we will begin with some of the slides. After that, we will do the practical analysis of the malware. Mm, okay, uh, like I have done some research on Google as of year 2020 regarding the Android statistics. Uh, there are 7 billion of users in the Android, and as of now, like 2018 billions applications has been downloaded in the year 2020, and from these applications they are making around 2 billions of money. And on the right side image you can see like the statistics are available when we see from 2017 to 2018 and 22, like due to the rapid increase of smartphones and the usage and the increasing of users and technology, and most of the people are using the applications a lot. So here we can see number of downloads in millions. So we can see there is a gradually increase. So from this we can observe there are billions of users who are using Android devices and running apps based on their individual preferable applications, like social media applications. Some of them use for business, some of them use for education, some of them may use for entertainment. It depends on their personal preferences, and we are not sure that all the applications which are available on the internet are genuine, or the apps which are installed on the devices are genuine. Uh, because from the statistics we can see there is a lot of scope and advantage for the attacker also, and he may build the malicious applications for his own profit. uh, Even though there may be millions of applications which are available, we are not sure, right? Because the applications will be downloading from Google Play Store or APK Pure, or will be using some third party, or will be downloading some applications from torrent. Some of them will be like with this a large platform, there is a chance, right, to get the applications infected. So if we download and use the same application, will be our device will be also in trouble. So this gives a scope for us also as well. So learning to perform Android application will be an advantage for us. This is the objective of analyzing Android malware. For example, let us take if malware is installed in our device. So as a analyst, what you can look for. So these all are the main things you have to look to find out what services it is utilizing. For example, if you take an application which is running on your device, uh, if it is using the background services, or there are different kind of services which will be seeing in the practical demonstration. These all are the important checklist you have to look for, whether the application is using any services, or whether you like with the application, if there are any another backdoors which will be installing on the device based on the already available malicious application. And also we have to check whether the malicious application is invoking any other applications installed on the device. Like using this malicious application, what an attacker can do is he can invoke the another applications which are already installed on the device, and he can use the intents to pass the data, or he can take an advantage of another applications to perform some of the malicious activities. For example, let us take if an application is using web, if a malicious application is installed on your device, so what he can do is using that application he can invoke the web view, which means the browser applications will be invoked, and whatever the malicious scripts, java scripts, or any other scripts which is hosted on the attacker's machine, so that scripts may be executed here, or using the scripts he may steal your cookies from your web browser. And there are many things which an attacker can do. And also we have to look you with that already installed malicious application, what kind of data he is taking actually, like the credentials, like credit card details or the login details. And also if we see the storage point of view, for some of the applications, if you run the app and you'll be using that, you'll be entering your login field, search box, or whatever the input fields you'll be using. So some of the applications, they will take a backup on your local device. So as an attacker, as he already have access to your application, he may steal that data also, which is stored in the another applications, because he already have a whole total control of your device, right? So using one of his privileges, what he can do is he can even take more advantage, and we have to look like what kind of data he is stealing actually. And the next thing we have to look is what kind of network communication it is making, whether the application is taking a reverse TCP connection to the attacker, which means is there any persistent what we call the TCP communication is happening, or whether he is accessing any whether he is accessing the user, the victim shell, and whether he is performing any command kind of things. So these all are the things we have to look. And also we have to look for the data traffic communication also, like how the transmission is going on, to which IP it is connecting, what kind of data it is taking on this communication. These all are the things we have to look for. And look for the permissions which is used by the malicious sorry for this, I have to put this in a first point. So whenever an application is installed, so we have to look based on the permission model, we can get some idea. For example, if you take calculator application, if you have downloaded calculator application from the internet, you have installed it, like if we see the permission model, if the calculator application is inside the calculator application, there is a permission for camera. So actually, the calculator application doesn't need camera permission, right? So these all are the things you have to look for. As an example, I said we'll see in the real time what are the type of permissions the malicious application possess, and using that how the data can be stealed. These all are the things we'll look in the practical demonstration. Uh, and also the methodology which I follow for this webinar is, first we will be downloading the real-time malicious application from the internet, and we will verify using the VirusTotal, like that, whether like what kind of impact it is, like how many times it has been detected, when is the application has been launched. So we'll see the generic details about the application, and after that we will take that application and we'll be performing the analysis. So okay, one thing I would like to make you clear, performing analysis means here we are not going to do penetration testing kind of method, but it is similar to that, because in general we will be doing penetration testing to find out the bugs and to fix that, and so that the application will be secured. So we are doing that because if it get into the wrong hands, the application can be misused, right? So here we already know that the application which we are downloading and we are performing the analysis and malicious application. So here we will be not looking on what are the bugs available. These things we'll be not looking. We will be looking like what kind of malicious activity it can do, right? How much impact it can make, how bad it is, what kind of things it is actually doing. So we'll look for the application behavior and what kind of the malicious task it has been doing. These things we'll be looking upon on the further session. So okay, let's begin the practical. We will be using Kali Linux for this practical demonstration. So I have already downloaded the malicious application. You can see here. Uh, this is a malicious one. Let's look up on the VirusTotal. Yeah, yeah, we can see here it has 35 detections. Like out of the all the antivirus vendors, most of them are detecting this, and they are saying like this is a Trojan and spy agent, malicious one. So most of the application has been detected that this is a malicious application. So like these are the hashes. I have downloaded this malicious application from uh, have used this malware bazaar. So not only malware bazaar, there are different websites where we can find the latest malwares which has been recently figured out, and they will be uploading here. So if any researchers like us, if you want to test or if you want to analyze the application, you can download from here. So you can see here like this is the latest application which has been detected, and it is uploaded on this application. I have analyzed the top 6 I have analyzed. So I have done the first one also. The first one is not a single application. It has been written by same author. So in order to perform the analysis of this application, you have to download these 3 APKs, and after that you have to unzip, and again you have to build the application. Then you have to perform the analysis. So this application will take huge time because we can observe if, like some of the content is on one hash, some of the content is on another hash. So you have to download. So it will take huge time. So that's the reason I'm not taking this. Like we have a little bit time. And next after that I have analyzed again the our second 3 applications. So out of the second 3 applications, I have found like this one is very big application. Big application means like if you perform the analysis, the most of the things which I want to show you, like it has many malicious activities and behavior if you compare it with this application and the second one. So that's the reason I'm taking you, because it's already a malicious application, but it has some more things which I want to show you. So I have downloaded the same application here. Yeah, we can see details 307 EB 307 EB. This is the same application I have downloaded. So yeah, let's begin. Generally okay, we have took the APK application. In order to perform the Marvel analysis, first let's reverse engineer the application. Okay, so to reverse engineer we will be using APK tool. Generally we are using this application reverse engineering because right one, let me show you. An APK is a collection of zip files. An APK is a zip file, like it contains all the files. So the collection of applications, uh, we have to rename it as RAR. Yeah, now this application can be extracted. Oh, I should have made a new folder. Okay, let's see. For example, after reversing an application, the main important file will be looking on manifest file. Like if you see this manifest file, we can't read. Yeah, you can see we can't read the application. So in order to read the content of this application, we'll be using APK tool to decompile the application. So here we have successfully decompiled the webinar.apk file, which is a malicious application. So let's get inside that thing. Okay, yeah, inside this, like as I said, an Android application is a collection of packages. So these are all the different packages, and out of the package, first we have to look for the manifest file. See, now it's readable. So after entering into an application, after entering into the manifest file, we can see the first thing inside an application is this one, permission model. So we can see like this application is using many permissions than required. So, like the malicious permissions, the first one you can see, read phone state. So this permission is used by an application to read regarding the phone details, like the EMEI number, like all the data which is related to phone. And also they are using these malicious permissions, wake lock, as well as the disable key guard. Like these permissions are used for like if you take an Android application, we'll be using the passwords, pins, pattern, this kind of things we'll be using, right? So in order to access that and break or to perform anything, this kind of thing, like these two permissions are required. After that, they are even reading the phone numbers, like they are reading the call logs, reading contacts, access the exact location, internet, boot, write call log. So foreground services, there are different kind of malicious permissions we can observe here. So like when we get into the application, we can easily figure out like like why they are using these permissions, what like what malicious activity they want to perform. These things we can analyze. Okay, after that, inside an application, they are also using services, and also broadcast receivers also they are using, and we will get into one by one. Okay, so from the manifest file, the important thing we have to look is like if you take an application, whenever an application is launched, so the first activity will be raised, right? Like whenever you press Facebook, WhatsApp, first the splash screen will load. After that, the main dashboard or the login page, it will be displayed like so. That will have like these filters, android.intent.action.main and category.launcher. Like this is the, so from here we can see, even though this application has activities, this is the main activity. Whenever an application is launched, this activity will be raised. So this activity name is okay, this is the one. Okay, so now what we have to do is, okay, we have the manifest file. The next thing what we have to do is, we have to get the source code of the application. So generally the Android application will be running on the DVM, Dalvik virtual machine. So the source code, the Java code which you are writing in the like which you are the Java code which you are writing while developing application, it will be converted into the Dex code, which is the Dalvik understandable format. So what we'll be doing is, we will be using one more application called D2J, I mean Dex2jar. So using this Dex2jar, what we can do is, we can convert the Dex file into the jar file. Like if we convert into the Dex file into jar file, it can be easily understandable, which means using some Java decompilers, we can see the source code of the application. So that's what we are doing here. Like the Dex code is being converted into the jar file, right? Okay, now yeah, we can see here the Dex file is now successfully converted to the jar file. So let's open the jar file using JDGUI. Like this is the application which we can use to decompile the Java code. Yeah, now the Java decompile has been loaded. Now what we have to do is, you have to open the application, like you have to open the jar file which we have just now converted. Desktop webinar, it said that, yeah, this is, no, yeah, here we can see classes dex to jar, which means the dex has been converted into jar file, right? So this is a file you have to open. Okay, yeah, in the right side you can see a.a Android support. Like the attacker, what they have done is, they have done the code obfuscation. It means that like in a normal scenario, the applications will be written in main activity or login activity, dashboard activity. These things will be there, right? And the methods are also clearly we can visible. For example, if you take any Java class, we can't read like out of this we can't figure out like how the application is behaving. like from where it is going, where, like how the data is passing these things. It will be somewhat difficult for an uh, developer or the person who is analyzing the application. So here we can see here int b, so we don't know like what's the b method, what it is doing, return e, so we can't understood. So this is called the code obfuscation. So to do this they will be using ProGuard, and there are some like you inside the Android Studio, the developer will be doing this so that any other attacker or even the tester can't exactly observe how the application is behaving. So that's the reason they will be doing this. And now out of this whole source code, we have to look for the main activity. So here the activity name, like as we saw before, this is the main activity, right? This activity name is vib support views.main activity. So now if you see the thing, we have to search individually like where it is, like where exactly it is. So instead of that, what we can do is it is time waste for us. So to save the time, what we can do is we can simply take the activity name, not fully, just the last thing is enough, because here they have done the code obfuscation, right? So it will be difficult, it may or may not detect. Here in the top left you can see the third one, this is a search thing. So here we will paste and see, now it automatically fetched the main activity Java class for us. So here we have saved the time period instead of going individually checking on the thing. Yeah, like this is the main activity. Whenever an application is launched, this thing will be loaded. Okay, and when it comes to the Java when it comes to the Java Android development, inside a main activity, if you take a C program, inside a C program, what is the main function? Void main, int main, this is a main function, right? And also the user declare functions will be there. There are many user defined functions, may there or may not there, but the main function is void main, right? So in the same way, the Android Java applications will be also having on create method. So here in the Java, in the Android Java, we'll be calling these things as method. So let's say, see, these all are the user defined methods: void c, void d, void on activity. So here we can see like this is the first, like this is a main activity inside an Android application. Okay, let's analyze this thing. So whenever an application is launched, this main activity will be loaded. Inside the main activity, this is the method first it will be executing. So inside this we can see what they are actually doing. They are calling the intent. Okay, like from here we can see this dot b equal to new intent content of this to main services dot class. Maybe it may be like if you take if you take a generic application, when you press the login button, how it will be navigated from the login page to, you will be navigated to the dashboard page or user profile page, right? So here also there may be one button or something like that. Whenever you press, uh, you will be navigating to another page, right? So in order to navigate between the two activities here, the screen is called activity, login page, registration page, dashboard page. These pages are called activities inside an Android application. In order to navigate between two activities, you will be using intents. So here they have used the intent to pass from this activity, this current activity. So this current activity is called main activity to main services dot class. Like whenever you press that button or whenever you click on that thing, you will be navigating from here to here. Okay, yeah, this is the thing, it will be loaded. And after that you can uh, so here they are using telephony manager and get system service phone, get network operator name. So in Android, telephony manager is a package. Like this package is used to get related the cellular related. Like here using this, like using this package, the attacker is getting the network operator. You know, right? Like this function is used to get the network operators, Geo, Airtel, BSNL, these things will be there, right? So from here we can see they are trying to get the network operator name. Yeah, this is one thing. I think here they have mentioned. Here is the thing. Okay, yeah, this one only phone state. Like based on these permissions and using this telephony manager packages, they are trying to get what kind of network operator the victim, the person who have installed this application is using. They are trying to get the details. After that, they have loaded WebView. In Android, generally WebViews are used to load a browser inside an application. You got it right. Consider if you take an application, uh, if you want to use a browser inside an application, what you can do is you can use a web view in order to embed the browser inside your application. Okay, so here they are embedding the browser. Okay, and next this dot a, let's see the variable declaration what they have done. Okay, private, okay, they have declared WebView as a, and intent they have given as b. Yeah, like these all are the variables they have declared. And let's go to the main active sorry, on create method. Okay, so now what they are doing is they are actually calling the WebView method. After WebView method, and also see, I have said you right, WebView is used for the embedding the web browser. So in your mobile device, you may be having different kind of browsers, right? The by default internet browser will be there, and Chrome or Firefox or Safari, or sorry, not Safari. There will be different kind of browsers the user will prefer, right? So out of all the browsers, the attacker is predefining like uh, this Chrome has to be launched. Okay, and after this, whenever this Chrome has been launched, after that they have declared the settings. So let's see the settings. Here you can see web settings. They are enabling the JavaScript in your browser, and set zoom controls true. Okay, you can zoom in or zoom out. Set layout. Okay, they are layout means like how much size it should be displayed, like the full screen, wide, these things they will be declaring here. And also load with overview and the main interesting thing you can see is set save password true. Okay, like this is a malicious this is a malicious object, because like whenever if you browse anything from your browser, if you log in or if you save any details, that all things will be saved in your web browser local storage, right? So what they are trying to do is what whenever if you enter any passwords, username, so they are trying to save it in the browser, so that using the intents, and they can using the broadcast listeners, they will forward, they will take this an advantage, and they will send it to the attacker server. And also web settings saved form data also, form data, which means like whatever the form you will be filling, right, registration or search box or entering your age, like any kind of form data they are also saving. Along with that, they are also getting the geolocation enabled. So in order to enable this geolocation, from the manifest file we saw location permission also they have declared, which means like even if the user has disabled the location services on the web browser, they like they can manually turn on the, like they can manually turn on this thing. And what else they are stealing? Yeah, these all are the things they have set it up for WebView. And also after that, they have given some classes for WebView extensions, like client what it has to do. This thing is not interesting. And also, yeah, we have forgot this thing. By default, they have declared to load this URL. Like this is not a external URL. Inside the application only they have given this thing. So let's see, inside a file, Android asset dot jh dot html. Okay, let's get into the application and let's see what does it actually have. Webinar, after that assets. Inside the assets, okay, this is a HTML, this is a HTML page they want to load. Let's see, okay, they are trying to load some images. We can see here market bg, alert pg. Okay, in the current folder itself there are images, so out of the images they are trying to load. Yeah, there is one current folder. Inside this thing there is one image called alert.png. I think they are loading this thing. Nothing is there, but I said you right, out of the applications I have took this because it has some interesting things. So let me show you. Like it is a PNG image, right? So now what we'll be doing is we will be doing the image forensics. Like we will let's see the metadata of this image. So like this EXIF tool is an forensic application which is used to see the metadata of the image. So from here we can see file name alert.png, it is in a current directory, and file permissions read write. Okay, file type PNG, and document ID. Okay, creator tool. They have created this application using Photoshop in a Mac lap in an Apple laptop. But okay, in this image, uh, like we don't find much better data. But in some of the images, if you open this EXIF tool, what you can find is when your location is on here, we can see the exact location also. Like at exact location where you have took the image. Like if you took this image from the camera, then we can get the exact latitude, longitude also, and also on what device it has been created. So these things we can see. But here, like its creator tool is Photoshop, so that's the reason here we can see this. And also what we'll do is, and there is also one more tool called Binwark. Like this is also a forensic tool. This will see like what are the things which has been inside the application. So here we can observe, right, the first thing is it has PNG image, okay, as well as it has one compressed image, sorry, one compressed data, one compressed zlab. So actually what this attacker is doing is, based whenever this application has been launched, what they are trying to do is they are opening a web view, which means they are opening the web browser. Inside the web browser, they are running the JavaScript by default. Here we can see JavaScript they are running. After that, they are loading the by default URL. So as in a user point of view, what you can observe is you will be simply seeing the image, but in the background, what it will happen is they are enable the JavaScript, right? So here from the previous file we have saw. So in the HTML page, this from the by default HTML page, what it will happen is it will load the image in the background. That backdoor will be installed on your device. As okay, let's do one more analysis if you want. We'll do the hex editor. Okay, and if you wait, let me. Okay, this is a PNG image, right? Let's open one browser. Now we'll do the image analysis. So they have from the Binwark we can observe, right? From the Binwark, what we have observed, they have done the steganography concepts. You know steganography, right? Steganography means hiding one form of data inside another form of data. So here in this malicious application, what the attacker did was, inside a PNG application, they have added the backdoor application. So this is already a malicious application. Using the malicious application, they are trying to install one more backdoor application. Okay, that's what here it is happening. So and we are using PNG image, right? So let's see the PNG file structure. Okay, let us see some image. See all the PN, like if you open that in the hex editor, we can see like what kind of malicious thing it is happening. So all the PNG will have a fixed structure. Like all the PNG will be started with this hex values, which means .png, and it will be ended with .b. So this is a fixed. All the PNGs images should be started with .png and it will be ended with .iend. Along with that, you can see here .ihdr, .idat. So these all are the things which is maintained by the PNG file structure to store the data. For example, if the image pixel is very high, so you can see the multiple IDATs or the multiple things, because like based on the picture quality and the picture pixels, so these things may vary. Here we can see only once, but if you take the high quality resolution picture, you can see it multiple times. So these things we can observe. And let's see the same thing in the hex editor. Okay, the hex editor value is correct only, so it's a .png. After that, it has been loading .isdr. Okay, and let's get to the end. And in the end also, it has been ended with .iend.b. Okay, so the file starting and file ending, it's been correct only, but inside this we can see there is some kind of malicious packet they have embedded. It's like in the data segment, I have said you, right, the data chunks it will be dividing. So inside the data segment, so this chunk data is related to the image, which we saw just now, like when we open the image, these things you can see. But in the back end, as they have enabled the script in the browser, so using the browser, whenever this image is launched, so it will execute these things. Got it right? So here the packet begin, and these things we can see in the source code after some time. So this is what I want to show you. Like in the another applications, like in the another malwares which we saw in the malware bazaar, they don't like it's not this much advanced applications. That's the reason I have taken this. Okay, so yeah, we can see this. So using this application, the attacker is embedding one more application. That's what he is doing. And okay, um, yeah, here also you can see they have used the broadcast receivers, right, inside the manifest file. See phone state, and these are all the like all the different things or different things they have used now. So using like these things they have used in order to pass the data. And also here we can see intent equal to new intent, and they are actually trying to open the image. Just now we saw, like whenever the image has been loaded in the browser, so what they are trying to do is, here you can see get content category openable, which means the image should be open, and the set type image star and image chooser. So and from the HTML page, yeah, from the HTML page, here they are like different kind of images, right? Dot market png and alert png, this kind of different images. Out of the images they will select, like the attacker will try to use whatever he wants. So if in this case, if this alert.png image has been loaded in the web browser, then by default it will load that .png image, which is a steganographic image. So using that, the backdoor, the new malicious backdoor will be installed on the user device. That's what it is happening as of now. So in order to do these things, they are adding these intents like openable, get content. So they are performing these actions, and then this is it is happening. And one more thing we have to look is, you have saw the presentation, right, like what we'll be analyzing. And also let's check for backdoors. This thing we have done. And what else? The important things, looking for permissions. Based on the permissions we are going on. Yeah, sorry, I forgot to do. Yeah, so as of now, we can observe, like whenever this application is launched, so this application will be invoked. Along with that, the malicious application will be also invoked. So here they have created the intent, like intents, right? Navigation, whenever something is pressed, it has to go to another page. Just now we saw somewhere it will be navigating. Yeah, this is the intent. So whenever if you press something, this is the next page. Like if you open an application, first the splash screen will come. After that, two options, login, register. If you press the login, you will go to dashboard. If you press the register, after registering, you will go to login. Like the same way, after this page, it has to go to the next page. The next activity is called main services. So let's observe here. So inside this main services, yeah, you can see they are checking whether the battery is changed. And also the attacker can get to know this detail also, whether your screen is off or screen is on. So they will be also observing this thing also. And also they will be observing your device idle mode, whether it is changed or whether it is normal. Like if the screen is off, screen is on, these kind of things they can see. And here the problem is, they have done the code specification now, so it will be little bit difficult to understand. Okay, these all are the things we have observed. And next, after this two, and we can analyze. But here we see like this kind of code specification done now. So that's the reason we can't open the code directly and can't see. So we will be see the sockets. uh, you can see sockets they are using. Like sockets is used, the sockets the attackers will be using to establish a communication between the attacker server and as well as this device. So here also we can observe like there are different kind of Java classes. So out of that, we will come from first. So let's start with here, datagram socket wrapper. Like here the wrapping has been happening, like what kind of data they are wrapping. Nothing they have mentioned. Okay, let's go to next class. Okay, here also we can't find anything. Let's close. And inside the C KO, see, you can see here C uh, Android core.net. It will be difficult for us. Like if you don't use the search option na, so we can't know, like there will be thousands of classes, so under which we have to look for, it will be difficult for us. That's the reason we are using this search. C dot class, let's get into C dot class. Let's close this, which we previously completed. Okay, inside this C dot class also they are using. Okay, we can observe request, some kind of request response. Okay, here actually the TC, I think the establishment has been happening, the packet establishment, whether if it is a request type of thing, then this will execute. If it is a response, then this will execute, and the content type also they are declaring request response. So we need to look for more, then only we can observe. Expected bytes but received closed, maybe like if the connection is closed, it will record how many bytes has been received. Sync expected, nothing much interesting we have found here. Let's go to next class. Okay, here the socket has been made, but these fields are code obfuscated, so we need to find the exact strings where it is actually happening. Yeah, here I think here the HTTP request is happening, because if we get into the HTTP protocol, under the request packet only we can see like the type of the thing, connected is there, and also the version, HTTP version also you can see. And okay, I think from this, if something has been happened, after that they are closing the connection. Here also connect, null, host, maybe the host details, proxy connection, keep alive, user agent, they are taking the user agent also. Okay, stream. Okay, when the connection is stream also they are using, so after this we will look for the streams also. Address, connection, proxy equal to host address. So I think all these things will be filled using the intents. We have to look manually regarding, like we don't know, like if we look manually all these things, we can get the attacker IP address, which means like here from this analysis we have observed like the socket connection has been establishing. So request response address is there, means from our victim device it has to connect somewhere, so where it will be connecting, this thing we have to analyze. After that only we can get some kind of clarity. So I'm looking for the socket address, which means the remote attacker IP address, where he is actually located. So I'm looking for that. Like using these fields we can't do anything, because like we don't know like what kind of address it is processing, like host name, these all these things will be depending on the client, right, the victim device. So we have to look for the more important stuff. Nothing much we found inside this. Think we have already analyzed J class. Okay, here also we can see, I think we have observed in the previous classes, we have observed the streams, right? So the data streams they are using. So using the data streams, they are pushing the data, like whatever the data, like the in the Android point of view, they will be putting all the data in a hash maps. So after putting in a hash map, they will push directly to the data stream. So the data streams will be forwarded directly to the attacker. So that's what here it is happening. Like what kind of stream it is passing, we have to see. So okay, here the stream is closing, maybe after pushing all the data the stream may be closing. Okay, status code also they are declaring. Status code means under this HTTP protocol we know like 100, 200 status code, okay, 300 redirectional, 400 client side error, 500 if the server side error. That's what they mean here. Status code. After that error code also they are displaying. Okay, after that the stream they are happening. They are pushing the data. Connection name, sockets, listener. Yeah, we have to find this listener, and also connection name. We have to look for the exact thing. Here we have only a little bit of information. With this we can't do anything. Okay, current thread, which means I think under this we are not getting any important stuff. Here also under the E we have came. Here also we can't find nothing much. Yeah, I think yeah. Now we have found something. Like hardware is like this is the path, right? If you take a HTTP protocol after the IP and port, so these are, here we can see request response is happening. So maybe this is the path from where it has to go. We have to look for the exact IP address. API alarm is there. Okay, we can understood that API receive the current folder, battery level changed, forward, no forward. Yeah, here they are pushing these things also, like what kind of apps which are available on the device and this package names. If you let me show you something. Like if some app is installed on your device, you will be having two things. One is app name, the another one is package name. I think maybe some of you may don't know. That's the reason I'm showing you. See, for example, if you take the WhatsApp application, this is called app name, WhatsApp Messenger, and this is called package name, com.whatsapp. The same way if you take Snapchat, so inside the Snapchat, this is called app name, com.snapchat.android. This is called the package name. So here from the source code analysis, we can see like they are taking the app name as well as the package name, and also we have saw status IMEI from the manifest file. We saw read phone state. They are using this read phone state also, because in order to pass this IMEI status, all these things, and also here I think we have some base 64 encoding. Let's decode. Yeah, we can see this is the IP address. The remote attacker IP address is this one. So they have done the actually they have done the base 64 encoding of the IP address. And okay, this is the IP address. Let us copy. Like we'll understand. We will take the whole thing. Virus total URL. Okay, wait. Let's analyze the total URL actually. And okay, they are using the string builder appends, which means after this the semicolon will come. After that 6988, like 6988 is the port it is connecting to. After that outgoing API alarm, sorry, API default dialer. Okay, it is taking this much. Okay, we have got it right anyhow. like we have figured out the attackers, the remote attackers IP address. So to this IP address, what they are doing is they are using the data streams, right? This thing we already saw. So to pass the data, and we have already previously saw, like we're looking on the streams, like looking for the sockets. We saw like they are using HTTP request response. They are using all these things, and the remote address we have just now we have figured out. Yeah, we have figured out the attackers, the whole URL. Yeah, let's see here also. I think before passing the data, they are pinging to their IP address. Maybe here ping to okay, which means that the attacker has been kept two IP addresses. This is the first one. First, it will check for the first URL which we just saw. It will ping for this. If this if the remote address is accessible, then maybe it will connect to that. If it doesn't, then it may connect to this. And also, yeah, JSON object. I think we have saw in the previous thing, uh, in the previous Java classes. Icon. Okay, yeah, they are okay. They are even package manager. So the package manager is used to list all the packages, which means the applications which are installed in your device. So they are taking all these things, the icon of the application, as well as the application name, the package name just now we saw, and the version, like the version, right? WhatsApp 1.0, 2.0. They are taking all these things, and also they are sending the exact time and date when it has been like when this data has been recording. Along with that, they are even taking this thing also, first installed it, when this application has been installed, and when it has been updated, last updated, is it third party application or it has been downloaded from the Play Store. And also, yeah, they are also creating one more third party app list, which means if, maybe they are dividing. If all the generic applications they are pushing in one data stream, and all the third party applications they are pushing on one data string. And also, yeah, they are saying equal. If it is equal, then they will be pushing inside that thing. If it is not equal, then they may be sending the package details to the third party application. And also they are even executing command utilities also. Is first install, they are checking all this. Also contact feedback. Hmm. Okay, yeah, this is the second IP. I think we have saw in the above, right? Two pings we have observed, ping 1, ping 2. If the first one works, then it may come to here. If it not, then it may it not here. And also here we can see content, call log, calls. Like just now we in the starting we have went to the image file, right? In the same way, like the call logs will the call logs they are recording and they are storing here, and they are even sending these call logs also. And the logs they are deleting, delete contact feedback, delete call feedback. We can see all the malicious things happening here. See here they are using this delete option to delete all this, which we saw in the manifest file. And what else they are doing? OS service manner, get service. Yeah, they are using this thing services also, which means the phone also they are even taking control. That's the reason they are, which means they can even read the call logs, they can take the call logs, and they can send SMS, they can receive SMS. All these things we just now saw. Write call logs. Using this permission, they are able to read contacts, read call log, all these things. Yeah, so write contacts, like whatever the permissions they have declared here, all these things here are utilizing perfectly. Okay, the order also they have mentioned in which order the packet has to be created and it has to be forwarded. So inside a data stream, I think this is okay. If we select this one, the SMS sending, so stop streaming, get third party app list, get current status, switch camera. Okay, they even have camera access, but in the manifest file we didn't saw camera access. Yeah, maybe these things may be triggered by the another applications. Like if you remember in the starting we have just saw, right, this application is installing one more backdoor. So maybe inside inside that application, inside that another backdoor, there may be camera access, like they have declared camera permission. So using the intents, like as we mentioned previously, we will be using intents, right, to navigate between the two activities. So I forgot to tell you, intents is of two types. Implicit intent will be there and explicit will be there. Implicit means like it will be inside of your application only. For example, if your application has login page, register page, dashboard page. In order to navigate between only inside your application, you will be using implicit intent. Explicit intent means, for example, take your WhatsApp application. You have done your status. If you want to share with another applications, or uh, uh, if you want to share it with Facebook, or if you want to share it with LinkedIn, if you want to share it in YouTube, so how you will be sharing in that at that point of time, what it will happening is the image or whatever the file you have selected, you will be placing that in an explicit intent. If you place that in an explicit intent, that can be shared with another applications which are installed in your device. Got it? So using the explicit intent, maybe what they are doing is using the backdoor application. They are that application having the camera access, right? So it will take the image and it will forward here, and from here it may pass, or else from here they may be passing, because also we have observed the services also they are using, and they are using all this like malicious broadcast receivers as well as the malicious things, right? So this is how they are using. And also they have the permission to delete contacts, like the attacker have like from this we can observe there are many different malicious activities which can be performed by the attacker. Live call history, okay, and delete call logs, default dialer, start streaming, delete third party applications, multi commands. He even executing the commands also on the shell, on the Android shell. Stop live record, add contact, start live record, end call. You can see here like how much malicious behavior this application contains. And also local live, I don't know what is this local live. Maybe I think live local live maybe uh, I am still I don't know. Package name, okay, I think maybe this is a context, because name number means, oh okay, yeah. And also here they are sending the SMS also, extras, string extras. So here the extras they are getting from top right, from the top they will fetch, and they are sending the SMS also. Okay, here they are, I think they can see cam list, they are even checking the cam list. Like these kind of malicious activities the application is performing. Let's see contact f dot class. Yeah, I think this we already saw. No, yeah, they are putting the number name and they're passing into the contact list and they're forwarding. What else we have? SMS permission also we have, right? We already saw these classes. And let's look for database. Stream we have already saw. Okay, this is regarding to WebSocket establishment, connection request response. We saw this thing also. Let's look on the permissions. Okay, yeah. Yeah, this is okay. From here we can see how much they can take. They are taking the subscription service, user statistics, app widgets, battery manager, camera, job scheduler, launcher apps, media protection. You can see here. I think it has every kind of functionality. It's a very dangerous malicious application, because you can observe here media session, restrictions, telecom, TV input, app ops, consumer ID, print, Bluetooth. Even they have the Bluetooth access, display access, user access, input, media router, service discovery, account activity alarm. I think whatever the features and services which will be used by an application, everything they are like everything has been connected here. clipboard, connectivity, device policy, download, Dropbox, keyguard. Yeah, keyguard we missed from. That's what I thought. Where is the keyguard we didn't saw? You went right, but right now we got inflator, notification, power, search, sensor, storage. See, everything it has it has. This application has all the control. Shutdown. I think there are many classes to look for. It will take huge time to analyze. As of now, I think I have covered almost all the permissions this malicious application has been using, and we have proved also. Proved means, I mean, we have get into the source code and we have analyzed like, okay, let me summarize once. First, okay, let me summarize. What we have done is we have downloaded the malicious application. We have checked for its how much critical it is in the virus total. After that, we have done the reversing of an application. Then we have went into the Android manifest file. We have observed different kind of permission models, different kind of permissions this application is using. After that, we have get into the main activity. Inside the main activity, we have observed like it is installing one more backdoor in a very advanced way, which means it has been loading the web view. Inside the web view, they are loading the local image from the uh, application, and inside the application, inside the image, they have done the steganography in order to hide the malicious backdoor inside an image. And then after that, this application is the already available malicious application is executing another application. So which means two dangerous application has been running on your device. After that, we have went for the sockets, which means uh, the attacker's remote shell. As we saw already, the attacker is taking the remote shell of the victim device, from where he is performing, like he is using the data streams to forward the data from victim device to server, and from server to victim device they are forwarded. And also we have saw uh, the remote IP address of the attacker, the remote full URL. They are using two URLs. If one URL fails, then it will try to connect to another URL. They are first pinging whether if this URL is reachable or not. If it does not, they are going to the second URL. Like this they are doing. And also whatever the permissions they have declared, almost we have saw everything. Like they can record call logs, they can delete contacts, SMS, what else, battery, power, camera, Bluetooth, uh, and much more, which we saw previously. Yeah, I think that's all with this. Even we can explore more the application, but it has around some 100 150 Java classes, I think. So it will take huge time. But as of now, we have covered all the malicious things which can be do. Like even if we analyze, also we can get the individual things. Like in the last we have saw, right, like all, like whatever the application can do, they have put it in a list, right, in the hash map. So even if we explore the application, also we can see the individual data frame, like how the contacts has been sending. Just now we saw the individual contact thing also, name, phone number, they are taking the same way, like how camera has been changing, all these things we can see in the individual. So I think that's all with this video. Yeah. And also one more thing, I would like to thank Research Hacker and Wiki for giving me the opportunity to perform these things on this live webinar. And thank you. If you have any questions, you can contact me. Like these all are my details. You can contact me on LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn ID. And also I have YouTube channel. If you want, you can get into the YouTube channel. And one more thing I forget to mention, inside my YouTube channel, I have made one playlist regarding this Android penetration testing. In that, any beginner, like the viewers who are viewing this session for the first time, Android malware analysis, and so for that kind of people, I have made one playlist from from very basics, like how an application is built in a developer's point of view. After that, what are like how the application is built, what are the different folders available in Android application, how they are built, and where you have to analyze, what are the important files to look for, how you have to build the methodology, all these things regarding Android penetration. Not only Android penetration testing, there are some other videos in my channel. So please go and check through that, and also make sure to subscribe. And this is my Facebook link, and also I have post my GitHub link also. There are some Android, I think there are some Android projects also inside my GitHub repository, and if you have any queries, you can send me the Gmail. This is my Gmail ID. Yeah, that's all. Thank you all for waiting for this time.